Well, hello everybody. It's the inaugural Kennymotown show, and this is going to be kind of cut up into segments. But I thought I'd start off with this one because hold on, this roller coaster is really flying, ain't it? Whew. Anyway, kind of like the situation we're in here in the United States, our beloved country. After celebrating our nation's birthday yesterday, depending on when you get this video. Um, kind of proves that a lot of people don't have a clue what direction we're on. But if you take a closer look, we're on a roller coaster. I mean, corporatism is running amok. And during World War II, I think, or pre-World War II, Benito Mussolini, he called it fascism when corporations merge with government. And I don't know if you've noticed, but most every bill that gets passed is sponsored and written by corporations. Now, where does it say in the Constitution that corporations are supposed to run the country? In fact, there's a couple of good articles you can look up that explain that our forefathers are fathers of the country, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, they all had little regard for corporations. In fact, corporations back then were supposed to be an entity that was given a little bit of extra protection because they formed a corporation instead of calling it a company. And that way they had less liability. But at the same token, corporations back then were supposed to only last 20 years. That's as long as the corporate charter was allowed to last. That's what our founding fathers believed. They believed that corporations also had to exist for the good of the population, the citizens. They had to prove every year, like clockwork, what they were doing that was in the best interest of the citizens of the United States. Well, if they didn't prove it, and if they proved to be a hindrance to the citizens of the United States and our rights, they were dissolved. In other words, they were given the corporate death sentence. Well, gosh, they sure have come a long ways, haven't they? I'm hoping that, there is this move. A lot of petitions running around now, different states, and that's probably going to get done at the state level, that we're going to try to get rid of corporate personhood. And let's just hope that it's something that we can do at the state level, because that's where all change comes from the bottom up. It always comes from the states. And hopefully in our next segment, I'm going to see how this one went, and we'll discuss some other issues of the day, and maybe a little bit of humorous this thing. But I'm starting to get a little sick on this roller coaster. But hey, we're all on it. Let's see what happens. I'll get right back to you after the commercial interlude. Welcome back. I believe this is going to be the second segment of the inaugural Kennymotown show, and I just thought, since in the first segment we talked about the corporatism going on in this country, one of the biggest factors and pieces of evidence that we can bring up, or I'll bring up right now, would be the fact that when President Obama was elected, and he wanted to get something done about health care, so did the majority of people in this country, and they still want something to be done about health care. The Obamacare, which has been labeled, isn't exactly all Obama's fault, and it's not a very good piece of work, although it's going to get more people health care. But as you saw, the corporate influence that dominates our government at this point in time in the public sector is not really a public sector anymore. It's dominated by the corporatism that's going on in this country. Single payer. I think that was what the majority of people in this country wanted. What kind of voice was heard on that? In fact, it was taken off the table right off the bat. And who said that? Joe Blow down the street? Me? You? Did we say take it off the table? No, we said keep it on the table. But before the negotiations even got started, it was off the table. And that's just a fine example of the negative advertisement or supposedly public outrage that was manufactured by the corporations that benefit from the system of healthcare that we have in this country today. If you haven't noticed, I'm sure most of you have, but that was one of the prime factors why we got the bill, Obamacare, as it's called today, and not something a little bit closer to socialized medicine or a single payer healthcare system, which is what this country really needs. And it would have given the economy a shot in the arm that would have, my guess was it would have made it more easier for people that want to get out there and start their new company or a new plan, a new idea, if they didn't have to worry about their coverage for their employees with insurance companies, which is one of the biggest so-called benefits that companies and corporations give. They didn't have to do that, and it was, easier for the individual to strike out on his own and start a company. And I think there would have been just an unbelievable amount of entrepreneurs that would have started their new businesses, and we could have got this country turned around a lot faster. But right now, we're kind of stuck with what's going on. Let's move on to a couple other different subjects. Apparently, we got another oil spill. This time it's on the Yellowstone River. You go, huh? Scratching your head, Yellowstone River. That's not the ocean. Well, they got a pipeline that apparently burst. And this is just another oil spill and a series of oil spills. We're probably going to see more and more. I mean, we're getting down to the point where the last, as Tom Hartman calls it, the last hours of ancient sunlight. And that is basically what oil is. It's fossil fuel, which was created millions of years ago, and we're running out of it. And the price is going to keep going up. The alternative energies is going to be our only way out. And the country, of course, being in a depression, it's not a recession. I know most of you people out there are not seeing any significant increase in your pay, and you're probably experiencing a decrease in your pay. I got a job that I'm going to be reporting to here next Monday on the 11th, and I've had to accept it after being laid off for a year, almost to the date. I've had to accept a $1.50 hour decrease in what I was previously making. But I'm happy. I'm going to be working about 10 miles closer to home, so I'll save in transportation costs. I won't have to get on the train, which I used to take, the MAX train here in Portland. A fine example of what public transportation can do, and I'm proud to say that Oregon is, or the Portland metropolitan area, is miles ahead of a lot of other communities across the United States. So I'll just be able to hop in my car and roll down the hill, and another mile down further is where I'll be working. Pretty happy about that. But at any rate, that situation with the oil spills is kind of on everybody's minds. But I also happen to think that Fox story about their Twitter site being hacked was kind of funny. Gonna have to end it right there. I've got a phone call I got to take. We'll be right back.
Hello there. I don't know if Kennymotown introduced me properly, but I'm your grumpy old neighbor. They can just call me old grumpy old man, whatever you want to call me. But I was just watching that show. What do you think of that first show? I mean, the guy was on a roller coaster. The first part of it, I almost got sick looking at it. But then he got his head in the clouds, which is pretty much the way I identify with my neighbor Kennymotown, because he seems to be a guy that has his head in the clouds all the time, dreaming. And although I have to say, most of what he said was right. But anyway, I just thought I'd say that I thought it was a pretty good show. Go ahead and comment if you can. If you want to make a comment about it, where you liked it, thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, anyway, Kennymotown, sometimes he drives me nuts. He's my neighbor, and I'm the old grumpy man, and that's about it for today. Yep. Well, possibly show up again one of these days on this show. We never know. Have a good one.